Hey, Steampunk Stories of AmberStreet.com here. I wanted to comment about the Sunday shooting in Las Vegas. It was just another absurd psychopath that killed a lot of people. You didn't think that they could top the record from last year, but voila, some psychopath who was a gun nut had a cache of guns in his room, cache of guns in his home. Um, Decided to go out with a bang. I believe that we need to really seriously consider gun control. I mean, what they need to do is like you need a license to drive a car, you need a license to own a gun because you need to show that you're mentally fit and that you of the sound mind and you're responsible to own a gun and maybe even make gun owners have to buy insurance, like you know, insurance so that if they are like liability insurance, um, because we do this with cars. Driving cars are considered a privilege, not a right. You have to earn a license to drive a car, and you have to have insurance. So I think this is a way you can curb gun violence. Australia already did this like 20 years ago. They had a spree shooter. They did a gun buyback program, mandatory gun buyback program. You could still get permits to hunt with hunting rifles, but I think the game warden or whatever, I may be a little bit off because I'm not that familiar with Australian law, but they passed a law that cut away spree shootings like this. So this is entirely ridiculous. They need to pass better gun regulation because you just have any gun nut who's psychotic can just go ahead and wound 527 people and kill 59 people. And um, like I said, Australia has a very similar culture to the United States. They passed gun regulation and mandatory gun buyback law 20 years ago, and it basically, um, with the mandatory gun buyback and everything else, um, it did away with spree shooters. It did away with gun violence in Australia completely. And we've yet to understand this in the United States. And um, it continues to happen. And it will continue to happen until we do something about it. It's just idiotic. And it's common sense. I mean, it's just, people, it shouldn't be that easy for psychopaths to get, 10 weapons. Or I think he had, I don't know how many weapons he had, but he had over 10 weapons in a hotel room. He had a cache of weapons. He was able to reload several times, shoot from the 32nd floor into a country music festival, and wound and injure so many people. It's just moronic not to want to pass gun regulation because otherwise you're just one psychopath's bad day away from being shot. The last and final note I want to make is how they tamed the Wild West was in a lot of western towns. This was also in Arizona, like Tombstone, I think also in uh, many other western towns. You had to, and you see this in a lot of old western movies where you go into the town saloon and they had to check their guns with the sheriff at the town gate. You could get your guns back when you left town, but when you wanted to partake of civilization, you had to check your guns at the gate. And the reason why a lot of western towns started doing this in the late 1800s is because they would have drunken brawls with people with loaded sidearms shooting each other and randomly hurting people. And there was no peace of mind until they actually had to start doing this. And we're going to have to learn to fight against gun manufacturers and the NRA who really don't give a damn about the rights or the lives of people in general. I'm sorry, but that's just the way that's the way I see it, and that's the way I'm going to put it. This is Steampunk Star Raising out. You have a nice day, and I will see you in 25 billion years.